Alright, hello guys, welcome back to the new edition of this particular YouTube channel, Analyze with Ade Ayo. Alright, so in one of our previous video, I dropped a step-to-step guide on the 5 step model of basketball betting strategy, and that is first quarter total point. And ever since I've made that particular video, some of our audience were still coming back to ask for guide, and because this particular model seems to be a little bit complex. So in this particular video, I'm going to give you guys a comprehensive step-by-step guide on how to make use of this particular strategy using another dimension, because that previous one seems like people were not they were unable to get the major point that I was trying to make there. So I want things to be easy for you guys right now, so I'll just be focusing on first quarter over point. And as we all know that this particular first quarter total point, the bookies, they will not really provide you with the odd line, enough odd line that you want. So this is the reason why we are mostly forced to make use of the available odd line that the bookmakers are providing for us. And due to the fact that most of these particular odds are always big odds, maybe something around 1.60, 1.80, and sometimes 1.90 odd. Although seeing this kind of odds may seems to be very risky, actually it is a very risky market, because predicting games like this, actually the bookmakers will be providing you with a very dangerous market, dangerous odd line. So that is the reason why we are going to be working with this particular odd line that the bookmakers are providing for us. So if the bookmakers are providing over 55.5 for the first quarter total point at odd of 1.8 odd or 1.9 odd, we don't have any choice than to use our strategy around this particular market. So if the bookmakers are providing us maybe over 55.5 and they are allocating 70 odds, if you happens to be someone that loves to play single games with a very huge odds, if you can take the risk, you can actually make use of this particular strategy. It's a very simple strategy and it involves just 5 steps. So uh I'll take you guys through the step by step. So we are going to start with step one and of this particular strategy, and I called step one as a recent first quarter scoring trend. So this particular uh in this particular aspect, what you just need to do is that you need to count how many of each team's last 5 games had over maybe the odd line that the bookmakers are providing. Let's assume that the bookmakers are providing us with maybe probably over 50 or over 59. So this particular over 50 over 59 is what we are going to look into in the first step. Alright, so before I proceed, if you haven't joined our Telegram channel, kindly join through the group link in the comment section and also in the video description. Alright, so I'll be picking one game from NBA, and probably we have some other leagues, but mostly there are two leagues that I will advise you guys to focus on: NBA and Australia League. I don't know for other team or other leagues yet, but if you want to predict your basketball first quarter, most of the leagues that are consistent when it comes to scoring points, always go for Australia League and NBA, US NBA League. So the reason why I said that you guys should always go for Australia League is because when it comes to scoring points, they score points very well. They are consistent with that. And when it comes to NBA League, the reason why I said you guys can go for NBA League is because most times, whenever they start this particular league, there is nothing like they are playing Euro League or Champions League or international games like that. They play their NBA games all through. Alright, so we are going to pick just one game from the NBA games that we have for tomorrow, and let me pick Philadelphia against Toronto. Alright, so as I said earlier, that the first thing that you need to look into is that you need to check the recent first quarter scoring trend. Alright, so for this particular game, we are going to check the odd line of the first quarter that they are providing. Alright, so what the bookmakers are currently providing us is over 57 alone. As you guys can see, this particular market is supposed to be something that they will give us more option, but unfortunately they are only providing us with over 57 and under 57, and the odd for over 57 is 1.86 odd. So this 57 is what we are going to work with. Now the work will start now. What I just want you guys to do is that, please, if there's anything that you don't understand, kindly drop the question in the comment section, and I'm going to respond to you guys. But I will try my best to make sure that you understand this particular 5 step of basketball first quarter. So we are working with 57 points because we don't have any other option. That is the only thing that the bookmakers are currently providing for us, 57. Now the first step, the recent first quarter scoring trend, and we are working with 57. So in this particular step one, you count how many of each last 5 games, each team's last 5 games had over 57 total points. That is the only thing that you need to do in step one. Kindly take note of that. The only thing that you need to do in step one, just look for, in their last 5 games, how many of their last 5 games ended up as over 57.5. So let us start with home team. Let's start with the home team first. So this happens to be the last 5 games of the home team. Please guys, kindly make sure that you don't skip any part of this particular video, and I don't want you guys to ask, I don't want us to be repeating things that we've shown in this particular video. So this happens to be the last 5 games. Yeah, let's check how many of their last 5 games ended up as over 57. So we have one. This one ended up as 68, and this one also ended up as over 57. They had 27-45 in the first quarter, so we have 2 games already. And the third one also ended up as 77. So we have 3 games out of the last 5 games ending up as over 57. So this one against Boston Celtic. Alright, so this one too also ended up as over 57.5. And this one also ended up as over 57.5. So 100% of the last 5 games for the home team actually ended up as over 57.5. So the previous one, regarding to the previous video that I made regarding to this particular 5 step model, it seems to be complex. So this particular new one, kindly make sure that you take note, because this one is very easy. I've already amended it that it will be very easy for you guys to make use of. Now we are done with the home team, and we can see that 100% of the last 5 games of the home team ended up as over 57.5. Now we are going to do the same thing with the away team, which happens to be Toronto Raptors. Alright, so we are going to look at the last 5 games also for the away team and check in their last 5 games how many ended up as 57.5, over 57.5. Alright, so let's check. So this one didn't end up as over 57.5. We have 26 and 26, and that should be 52. Alright, so this game 12800. Let's check the first quarter. Alright, so the first quarter ended up as over 57. So for this game, the first quarter didn't end up as over 57.5. So for the fourth game, the first quarter didn't end up as over 57.5. And the last game, alright, so the first quarter ended up as 69, which is over 57. Alright, so for the away team, just 2 games out of the match out of the last 5 games ended up as over 57.5, which is 40% of the last 5 games ended up as over 57.5. So don't forget, for the home team, all their last 5 games ended up as over 57.5, and for the away team, just 2 games out of the last 5 games ended up as over 57.5. So 2 plus 5, that is 5 for the home team and 2 for the away team, and we are getting 7. So if we are to divide 7 by 2, we are getting 3.5. Now this is what you are going to do for me. That particular 3.5 that you guys are seeing, kindly just help me to keep it somewhere. Like, just keep it somewhere. Just keep it somewhere. So we are done with step 1. Now moving on to step 2. And for step 2, I call this one the recent first quarter defense trend. Alright, so for step 2, what we just need to do for step 2 is that we are going to divide 57. Don't forget, we are working with what the bookmakers are providing for us, because there is nothing for us to bet with if we don't work with what they are providing for us. So 57 is what we have. Now in step 2, we are talking about the recent first quarter defense trend. In this aspect, we are going to divide that 57 by 2. Alright, so dividing 57 by 2, we are getting 28.5. Now this is what you are going to do. You are going to check how often both teams allow over 28.5 in their last 5 games, in the first quarter of their last 5 games, over 28.5. So the point that we are getting from this, we are going to keep that one also. This particular strategy happens to be something that will not really take you more than 15 to 20 minutes when you are doing your analysis on a particular match, but the results, the odd is always amazing. Alright, now so let us look at the last 5 games of the home team and the away team, and let's see in the last 5 games how many of the last 5 games ended up as how many of the last 5 games did this particular game teams that we have considered over 28.5. So for Philadelphia, this particular game that ended up as 132 and 121, let's check. Alright, so we can see that the home team in their first game, in their last game, they considered more than 28.5. So 1. Checking this particular game also, they lost it. So they did not concede up to 28.5. So let's check this one. So they considered more than 28.5 here. So the fourth game. So I just want you guys to keep following this particular video and pay a very good close attention to it. So we've checked 3 games already, and we can see that out of the 3 games that we've checked, 2 out of it they considered more than 28.5 in the first quarter. Alright, so this happens to be the fourth game. So they considered more than 28.5, and for the last one, alright, they considered more than 28.5 in the first quarter. So 80% of the last 5 games of the home team, they actually considered more than 28.5 in the first quarter. So just help me to keep that one also. Don't forget, the overall point that we got from step 1 is 3.5. Just kindly keep that one somewhere. So for step 2, for the home team, we are looking at the first quarter defense trend, and for the home team, 80% of the last 5 games, they considered more than 28.5 in the first quarter. So just keep 4. That is 4 out of their last 5 games they considered over 28.5. Now moving on to the away team, let's check. So this game here that ended up as 97-109, let's check. The away team didn't concede up to 28.5 here, and checking this one, yeah, they considered more than 28.5. So 1. Checking this game, they did not concede up to 28.5. So checking this game, they did not concede up to 28.5. And checking the last game, alright, so they considered more than 28.5. So out of the last 5 games, we can see that 40% of the last 5 games they considered over 28.5. That is, 2 out of their last 5 games they considered over 28.5 in the first quarter. So we have 4 for the home team and 2 for the away team. Now, adding 4 and 2 together, we are getting 6, and dividing that particular 6 by 2, we are getting 3. Now, don't forget, for step 1, we got, in overall we got 3.5, and for step 2 we got 3. Kindly follow these particular steps and take note of this. Now, what we are going to do next is that we are moving on to step 3. I hope you guys are following, and if you guys notice this very well, there is a particular new dimension. Alright, now, so we are done with step 2, which is very very simple. Now, moving on to step 3. In this particular step 3, this is what I call it head to head first quarter history. So this happens to be step 3. And what are you doing in step 3? What you just need to do is that you need to review their last 3 to 5 head to head, and note how many of the last 5 games ended up as over 57.5. Don't forget, we are working with 57.5, and that is the odd line that the bookmakers are currently providing for us. Now, this is what we are going to do next. We have their head to head here, the last 5 games against each other. So in this particular last 5 games, you are going to check how many of it ended up as over 57.5. Alright, so let's start with this particular game, and that is what we are going to do for step 3. Let us just check how many of the last 5 games ended up as over 57.5. So we have 1, checking this one too. Okay, I think this one is not up to over 57. So checking this one. So it's not up to over 57.5. Checking the fourth one. Alright, so we have another game that ended up as over 57.5. And checking the last game. So we have another game that ended up as over 57.5. So now, this is what I noticed. 3 out of the last 5 games ended up as over 57.5. Now, this shows that 60% of the last 5 games against each other ended up as over 57.5. And that is, just take note of this one. For the step 3, we have 3. That is the overall point for step 3. Now for step 4, without wasting much of our time, I'll be moving on to step 4 right now. Alright, so for step 4, I called step 4 home court energy. This one is for the home team, the advantage of being of playing at home. This particular thing, many people usually be like, okay, there's nothing like home team advantage. There is home team advantage, because most times the away opponents, they used to get tired, fatigue, and this all these things used to affect their performance. So I included this in this particular model. And in step 4, whereby we are talking about home court energy, you are going to identify uh the which team that is playing at home, and that is Philadelphia in our analysis. And we are going to check how they usually start their games, and looking at it, we are going to look at how they've been conceding. Don't forget, when we are talking about the recent first quarter defense trend in step 2, we divided 57 by 2 and we got 28.5. Now this time around, you are going to look at the last 5 games of the home team, the last 5 home games for the home team, the last 5 home games that they played, and we are going to check how many of it ended up as over 28.5. That is how they used to perform when they play at home, and how often they score more than 28.5 in the first quarter in their last 5 home games. That is what we are going to do right now. Step 4 is all about the home team alone, and we are looking at their last 5 home games alone. Now for Philadelphia, we can see that this happens to be the first games that they played at home that we can see in the last 5 games. So we are going to check more. So in this particular game, we are going to check if Philadelphia, if they are able to score over 28.5 in the first quarter. All right. So unfortunately, they had 25 in the first quarter of this particular game. So we have 4 games to check. So this particular game they played at home and they won. So they scored more than over 28.5. That is 1/2. So checking the next one, they actually won. They scored 125 points in total. Let's check it. So they scored over 28.5 in the first quarter. That is 2/3. Alright, so checking this game, they also won at home and they scored more than over 28.5, and that is 3/4. So the last one is this. They lost and they had 98 to 128. But I want you guys to take note of something. This is the only problem that we can face when it comes to analysis. Currently we are predicting NBA USA, but unfortunately pre-season games is now included. We have no choice. That is what we are able to get, and that's why I always say that there are so many things that always affect basketball analysis, and that's why I have been avoiding other leagues, because most of these particular leagues they play playoff. Sometimes we see them playing Champions League, international games, like that and like that. So we have no choice than to look into what we have. So fortunately, in the first quarter of this particular game, Philadelphia, they were able to score more than 28.5 in the first quarter. So right now we have 4/5. That is 4 of their last 5 home games for the home team actually had over 28.5, and that is 80% of their last 5 home games, and that is 4. So now this is step 4. The overall total point that we have in step 4 is what? Is 4. Are you guys getting it? Now the last part, because someone actually came to my WhatsApp and the person was like, okay, I should do the step 5, which happens to be the last step of this particular strategy. So this particular step, the last step, there's nothing out there, nothing. So what you just need is that I'm going to explain how this particular step 5 work for you. So step 5, for step 5, this is what step 5 means. The step 5 is calculate the first quarter over confidence score. You can short it as 1Q 0CS. First quarter over confidence score. This is where we are going to determine if this particular game is what we are going to predict as over, or we are going to avoid it. Now let me give you the interpretation of this particular first quarter strategy. If you are able to get over 150.5, like if you are able to get over 150 after doing the overall analysis, then fine, you are good to go as first quarter over 57.5. But if not, I will just advise you guys to just avoid this particular game if you are unable to get more than 150. If you're able to get something like 200 or more, that means that particular game is perfect for you. Now let us start. Don't forget, in the first quarter, after doing our overall analysis, we're able to get 3.5. So first quarter, what you are going to do for me in first quarter is that you are going to multiply our overall point with 15, and our overall point for the first quarter happens to be 3.5. All right, so 3.5 times 15. So this is what we have for the first quarter, 52.5. Just try to keep this one down. Now for second quarter, we are able to get 3. That is sorry, for step 2. For step 1, we are able to get 52.5 by multiplying the overall point in the first step, which is 3.5 multiplied by 15, you are getting 52.5. So for first step, for step 1, always multiply your overall point with 15 and keep it. Now for step 2, always multiply your overall point with 10. And for step 2 we are able to get 3 points, and we are multiplying it by 10 for step 2, and multiplying 3 by 10, and that is 30 for step 2. Now for step 3, if you want to multiply step 3, multiply it by let me check, multiply it by 20. Yes, our step 3 is head to head first quarter history, and what we are able to get there happens to be 3. That is, 3 of their last 5 head to head games ended up as over 57.5. So we are going to multiply 3 by 20. So we are able to get 60. So we are able to get 60. Now for step 4, don't forget we are able to get 4 games out of their last 5 home games ending up as over 28.5, and in step 4 you are going to multiply 4 by 10, because don't forget the overall point we got in step 4 happens to be 4. Total 4 of their last 5 home games ended up as over 28.5. And don't forget step 4 is home court energy. Now 4 multiplied by 10, and that is 40. Now this is what you are going to do for me. We've been able to accumulate step 1, step 2, step 3, and step 4. You are going to add everything together, and this is the interpretation. As I said earlier, if you are able to get over 150, definitely that particular game is perfect for first quarter over 57.5, according to what the bookmakers, the odd line that the bookmakers are providing for you. So that is what we are working with. Now don't forget, for step 1 we have 52.5, plus for step 2 we have 30, and for step 3 we have 60, and for step 4 we have 40. And thank God we are able to get 182.5. Now take note of this: if the point is not up to this, if the point is not up to over 150, if the overall point is not up to over 150, don't go for the game. Normal in betting, there's nothing like 100%, but yet we are using strategy in order to increase our chance of winning, and that is the purpose of using strategy. So this particular 5 models, I'm expecting it to actually help you to predict accurate games when it comes to basketball. And as you guys can see, the bookmakers are providing us 186 for over 57.5 of the first quarter of this particular game. Actually, I know this particular strategy is very risky when it comes to the odd allocation of it, because if you guys are looking at it, before bookmakers we allocate a very huge amount of odds like this 1.8, 1.9 odd to a particular game. It is very rare, so you guys need to be very careful and try to bet responsibly. No strategy is 100% accurate. And also, if you are just joining us for the first time, kindly subscribe to this particular channel and also join our Telegram platform. So if you want the PDF of this particular 5 model of basketball first quarter total points, you can actually get it by joining through our private circle group. So you are going to find most of our group link in the comment section and also in the video description. If you have any question regarding to this particular strategy, please kindly drop it in the comment section, and watch out for our 5 model of straight winning, because of recent there's a particular strategy I'm using for most of our weekend long bets, that is straight winning in football, and I'm going to explain some certain things regarding to this particular strategy. And also, if you want to learn some of my strategies, because there are so many models regarding to sports, there are some market that the bookmakers will not really provide for you, but they are very, when you apply this particular strategy on them, they are accurate. But it is very rare for you to get those particular markets. You can actually contact through our private circle group. So I'm going to attend to you. See you guys in the next video. Bye bye.